Hello, it's Teacher Christy here again. This time I'm here by request. I've actually had a couple of requests for this topic. It's a big topic. It's a very difficult topic, but I'll give it a try. How do we discipline or deal with behavior problems with young students? Now, of course, this is for those other teachers and other programs because we certainly don't have any behavior problems at Vipkid. But how do we deal with those young students? How do we discipline a child in a foreign language? That's a really challenging one, and one that I struggled with, and I think I continue to struggle with in terms of how to deal with behavior. The first, I think, trick that all of us would try would be to distract them or to get them interested and engaged. And I did a video on how to engage the disengaged student or the dissident student, the student that's sort of causing problems. And I always start with, can I get that student more engaged? Can I direct that energy somewhere else? But there are times when you just can't, when there's all kinds of mischief making. And how do we handle that in the position that we're in? One of the things that took me a while to do, it was hard for me to do, which is interesting because I definitely have no problem saying no to kids, but actually saying no or stop or that's not okay online to a child in another country took me a while to do. I was afraid to go, no, stop, don't do that. So if a child is doing something now, I've really started doing that. If a child's doing something incredibly irritating, they're drawing all over the screen, or they're screeching in my ears, or having a behavior issue, I will simply go, no, stop. I'll use my good TPR and I'll try to do it with a smile and a calm voice and just say, no. A lot of times I'll say, the drawing, it's not time for drawing, and not time for drawing, really using that TPR. I would say a lot of the time the student will go, oh, okay. They can recognize that I'm saying no to them. And so now I do. If they're doing something that I would discipline another child for, I will say, no, not time for that. And you make that direct eye contact, and you might have to say it a couple times. And then every time they do that behavior, not time for that. And this action really seems to assist them in doing that. Like children, I think in person, we all know that we need to be consistent and persistent on it. When you have to constantly correct that behavior. I actually think that's even more important online because we're not right there. That physical presence isn't always the influence that it is in person. And so if I'm going to actually say no to a child once, I will always say no for that same behavior the rest of the lesson. So if they keep drawing, not time for drawing, and it's continuing to be persistent. I'm also a bit dogged. I will keep doing it until they stop. So I don't generally continue on with the lesson despite their bad behavior. I will, insist that they stop. And after a while, they get the point. Most of the time. You're going to have those children that just aren't going to get the point. But most of the time, they look very startled when you're just like, not time for that. And you just say that. And I've actually never had a bad response from a child or a parent by doing that. Most of the time, this is the downside to disciplining their child, you get rebooked. Because parents seem to appreciate that you're actually saying no, which is a tough thing to do. I also sort of act out their behavior. I do get those kids that screech, and I'm sure most of you have. And what I just goes, ow, ow, that hurts teacher's ears. And I'll just keep doing that every time they scream, ow, that hurts teacher's ears. Ow, that hurts teacher's ears. And you just keep being persistent. A lot of times the parents will hear you correcting, and if the parents hear you correcting their child, most parents will sort of rush in to give them the eye or to correct their behavior as well. Most parents respond well to that. And by most, I mean most. You're going to have those parents who are totally oblivious. Your parents are sitting right next to you while the child is, covering the camera and doing all kinds of other things. If they cover the camera, which is pretty common, I'll just go, I can't see you. And I'll just keep saying, I can't see you. They may not know what it means, but they do understand an adult correcting you and what it means. So my biggest takeaway for you guys, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, no, that's not okay. And we can do it in a positive and affirming way, and we do it in a calm way, but that's not okay. And it's important for us to be consistent because they'll do it to the next teacher and the next teacher, and it's really interfering with their learning. I would say the vast majority of Chinese parents have encountered appreciate you setting those boundaries with your kids. So I would encourage you to do that. Generally, if I've had the student before or I'm going to have the student the next 2 weeks, I will mention it in the feedback. And I can give some examples of how you would mention a poor behavior in the feedback in a way that isn't going to get that parent angry or feel like you're criticizing your child. Give me a situation. I can give you some examples of how I address that. I've never had a bad response to correcting a child in that way. So my advice for you is to really use those same tactics you would in the classroom and with your own kids. Just be more patient and be more acting it out. All kids know what this means. And a lot of times I'll just hold this up until they stop. And that's really effective. Those are some ideas, those are some tips, those are some things I struggle with, but I hope it's helpful. Hopefully you don't have any behavior problems and you have no need for my input on this matter. But okay, bye for now.